We're going to see other changes too in terms of how society entertains itself, in terms of what hits the airwaves. In particular, rock and roll. A uniquely American style of music that combines all kinds of music. It combines the blues, folk, country, tosses in the electric guitar, brings in all of these different elements. We're going to see it mass produced. We're going to see teenagers flock to this, and their parents hate it. But what makes this interesting, even though parents condemn it as kind of mindless and loud and dangerous, American teenagers will buy it because for the first time, American teenagers have disposable income of their own. More and more American teenagers are getting their own jobs. And when they get their own jobs, they get their own money. When they get their own money, they're not going to be restricted in what they buy. They can buy their own stuff. This is going to lead to the first ever really well-documented generation gap, a kind of a cultural separation between the young and the old. A generation that likes a particular kind of music, not the kids. A generation that has a particular kind of dress, not the kids. An American generation that supports things like the hunt for communism, etc., not necessarily their kids. This is going to be the real beginning of that split between young and old. A generation gap that is still in existence today. What's interesting about this is that American poets and artists will look at kind of the conformity that we've talked about on previous slides, and they'll say this is destroying America. That we shouldn't have this sterile culture where everyone dresses the same, does the same, works the same. Instead, we should strike out at that, because a culture where everyone's the same, it's sterile, it's antiseptic, it's conforms, right? And these people, they'll call themselves the Beats because they'll march to the beat of a different drummer. And one of those guys is Jack Kerouac right here. Others include people like Allen Ginsberg. And what they do in their poetry is they talk about sex and drugs and music. They talk about the religion in ways that other people haven't before. And it shocks mainstream America. And in some ways, it helps explain the generation gap. And it's going to help push Americans more towards the 1960s. Tomorrow we'll take a more in-depth look at this and kind of how each subsection of the American population responds to all this social change, and then we'll go from there.